Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Global Fleet Conference 2020. Welcome to this deep dive webinar. Let me first of all thank all our conference sponsors, without whom this conference could not take place, of course, and it's really a pleasure to be your moderator again today in this deep dive webinar together with Vodafone Automotive. The title of the deep dive webinar is around safety, and it's called Digital Fleet is a Real Opportunity to Increase Safety for Everyone. Indeed, more and more we see that there is a link between digitization and fleet safety. And in this webinar, we have invited an expert of Vodafone Automotive who will shed light on that link and also on what Vodafone Automotive can bring to the global fleet customer. Ladies and gentlemen, the automotive world is witnessing a particular period of unprecedented change, evolving technology, ownership models, environmental concerns, urbanization, data privacy are combining to transform, let's say, how we think about transportation. And the impact of IoT in the digital transformation from the automotive business has driven Vodafone to deliver connected car products and services for the motor, the fleet, and the insurance industries through Vodafone Automotive. Indeed, with 45 years of experience in the automotive business, Vodafone Automotive designs and delivers services for stolen vehicle recovery, road safety, UBI services for the digitization of insurance policies, driving behaviors and eco-driving scoring, as well as remote maintenance and vehicle monitoring. And with a strong focus on safety of people and security for vehicles, Vodafone is at the forefront of automotive innovations. And this to improve life and business today and tomorrow. And I'm really glad that we have among us Rick Vicari. He is Head of Telematics Services Sales at Northern EMEA at Vodafone Automotive. And before Rick's presentation, we would like to have your answer to a poll question to a little bit set the scene. And the poll question, you see it on the screen, it's straightforward. It's, in your view, which are the key drivers and benefits when deploying telematics for fleets? And so the participants in this webinar can now indicate what are for you the drivers and benefits when deploying telematics for fleet, cost optimization, safety, innovation, or new revenue streams. And you can indicate more than one answer. And in a few seconds, we will see the result if everything goes well. So please give your answers. And let's now look what the result is.
It's going to be interesting. Fantastic, Stephen. I'm actually not surprised by this result, I must say. Where I'm surprised is that new revenue streams come before innovation. But cost optimization as the top one, and or safety and cost optimization as the top two, is quite in line with our expectations. So thank you for this.
And it's also probably, Rick, really into the scope of the business of Vodafone Automotive and the presentation that you are going to bring to us today.
A very good start, yes. Thank you.
So, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stephen, and hello, everyone. It's quite incredible how in a matter of 2-3 months, we got completely used to changing our way of sharing this type of content, right? From the comfort of our home to the comfort of your homes, I guess. So before I start with the presentation, I would like to address a potential curiosity. So in most conversations I have with industry colleagues who have an interest in telematics services, I often get asked, what does Vodafone have to do with end-to-end solutions for the automotive space? You know, why Vodafone in automotive? And you, Stephen, you explained it really, really well. So my standard answer would have included an explanation of our acquisition of a telematics company back in 2014, et cetera, et cetera. But it was actually a senior executive in a large leasing company who helped me with a better answer. He said there are three main types of players in fleet management. You know, the vehicle manufacturers, the logistics management departments or dedicated companies like corporate leasing companies, and finally the data management partner. He said, I do get it. You guys are experts in handling large amounts of data in a secure way. You made investments and partnerships over many, many years. And that's how you managed to have over 20 million connected cars in your system. He also warned me, though. He said, you should never rest on your laurels, because regardless of the investments you made in the past, the real value for fleet managers is in the data insights they need and expect to make informed decisions today. Yeah? So I keep this in mind in every conversation I have. So let's start. I am now clicking. I think I have presenter rights, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's working. So so it's inevitable to start with the consideration that the current pandemic has helped prioritize health and safety above everything else. We could say that health has become more than ever a pillar of global stability. So while leaders in all sectors are looking at ways to bring our day-to-day life back to some form of normality, we want to give our contribution too where we can. So for us, safety is not a new mission, just post-COVID. We have been focusing on safety and security for many years, with experience in generating law enforcement grade crash reports, supporting real-time private eco services, usage-based insurance, and stolen vehicle tracking and recovery services. Safety has been at the core of our thinking and our solution development for many decades now. When we chosen Geotab as our strategic technology partner for fleet telematics services, we have done so because of our common positioning as consultants in putting safety first. Arguably, rather than a return to pre-COVID normality, a new normal could be preferable, as some pre-COVID statistics should probably be left in the past. Wouldn't it be better to have safer roads and better air quality? I guess we have an exceptional opportunity to catch, and we should not miss it. If you had to leave the presentation at any point before the end, I would like you to take away a key message. With today's latest generation of fleet telematics solutions, fleet managers do not need to split their budgets between investing in more safety and investing in better performance or efficiency. With that one solution, one device, one platform, one service, you can achieve it all. With one investment, you can achieve both strategic goals. Safety on the road is affected by many factors: the level of experience of drivers, their propensity to risk, distractions while driving, including smartphones and other devices, mix of vehicles on the road. Think of a hybrid scenario where traditional vehicles, electric vehicles, large trucks, small delivery vans, electric scooter, e-bikes, autonomous delivery modules, each with a different acceleration, deceleration, cornering, and braking behavior. Roads will see an increasing complexity in terms of interaction between all these types of vehicles and other road users. A family with a push trolley crossing the road, a teenager on a skateboard, a road maintenance person on the side of a busy or fast road, bike riders using dedicated lanes like in most towns in Europe. In a not so distant future, new technology, for instance 5G enabled low latency signaling, will help reduce collisions while increasing road visibility and anticipate sudden events, such as a passenger opening their door while parked on the side of the road, or a vehicle with malfunctioning brakes not being able to reduce speed. Several B2C or V2X scenarios are already being tested in our dedicated facilities. But in today's session, we want to analyze road risk and safety management from the lens of a fleet manager and what can be done today. So fleet managers ask for vertical and customized solutions to answer the specific needs of their businesses. Various services are available to cover every area of vehicle management, from cool chain to delivery reports, from intelligent car sharing to transport logistics, and much more. But safety is a need that is common to everyone, and safety, as you may have gathered by now, is our priority. Let's start with looking at how we can improve safety for people, the planet, and businesses. But let me warn you first, as data analytics experts, we measure everything, and I estimate I will repeat the word safety approximately 87 times. So repetita iuvunt, my ancestors used to say, repetitions help get the point across. I'm clicking to the next slide. So how do we keep people safe, first of all? From a fleets manager standpoint, we have at least three sets of individuals to look after. The drivers of our fleet, the drivers of other vehicles outside of your fleet, and vulnerable road users. Telematics can help, first of all, to identify driving behavior, which can increase risk for all. For instance, do they normally wear their seatbelt, or do they have a habit of driving above speed limits? Is it common for them to show risky behaviors such as harsh acceleration, deceleration, or cornering? In case of accident, the speed of intervention can save lives. Public e-call services, such as the one provided within the EU, or private e-call services, can play a key role in sending real-time alerts with the location of the accident. Furthermore, accurate and detailed crash reports automatically generated based on data collected from the device can help assess responsibility for the event. More awareness and preventive action can reduce accident costs by as much as 40–50%, with positive benefits both for employees and the employer. Interestingly, in COVID times, fleet managers can enhance the protection of their employees by knowing how the fleet is used and when, by whom, where, and when to sanitize the vehicles. The sanitary aspect is extremely important for shared mobility services that were taking off before the COVID pandemic to the expense of car ownership. We believe this is still the case, and excuse the pun, K stands for connected, autonomous, shared, and electric. However, safety measures need to be taken in order to generate consumer confidence. Let's now take a look at the positive environmental impact associated with the adoption of fleet telematics solutions. There are two ways to keep air quality at near lockdown levels. First of all, by optimizing the model and the utilization of vehicles, meaning route optimization and reduction of idle time. The overarching goal is to reduce carbon emissions in order to meet and hopefully exceed regulatory guidelines, such as the Clean Air Programme by 2030. Incidentally, this brings about economic benefits too. Our partner Geotab has run several polls to find out what are the main levers for fleet managers. Not surprisingly, in many countries around Europe, to reduce environmental impact is among the first two reasons for bringing improvement to the way they manage their fleets, and today's poll results confirm that. The logical next step is to increase the number of electric vehicles in their fleets. A telematics solution should be able to obtain battery charging levels data in order to advise when to direct the vehicle towards the closest recharging forecourt. With more and more infrastructure for electric vehicle recharging, like the one being deployed by, for instance, GridServe across the UK, some of the logistical challenges associated with electric vehicles would be fully addressed. I guess within 10 years, we will not even be discussing a mix of internal combustion engines and electric vehicles. However, today, it is still important to have a guided assessment of which type of vehicle is suitable for which type of usage. A smart transition is essential for a smooth running of the business. And data insights based on real usage can help make better and faster decisions. So when it comes to business performance management, fleet managers start with looking at what type of reporting they need, followed by the quality and reliability of the data collection process. But flexible reporting is a must in the form of, for instance, configurable web portals. In terms of cost reduction, the goal is twofold. On one hand, the reduction of operating costs, for instance, by improving the timing of maintenance sessions, by geofencing vehicle usage, or by influencing driving behavior in order to optimize fuel consumption. On the other hand, we have business continuity. This is actually where the marriage between safety and business performance takes place. A careless driving style may lead to greater risk on the road, but also to downtime and repair costs, as well as company liability exposure. The latest generation telematics solution provides the fleet manager with the ability to coach the driver to keep vulnerable road users and other drivers safe, to reduce impact to the business and the brand. Imagine, for instance, the ability to send audio notifications that alerts in real time when drivers deviate from company safety policies, such as speeding, driving hours limit, or even cold chain tracking to protect the integrity of the goods being transported. The benefits of introducing a telematics solution from scratch in a vehicle that was not equipped with such a solution become evident immediately after installing a device and downloading an app. Savings of 40 or even 50% can be observed within a short amount of time. The installation experience can vary from one supplier to another, and it is impressive to see how some suppliers have managed to simplify the process to enable an installation of devices and software apps in a few minutes per vehicle. Again, a reliable, quick, first-time successful installation is another way to keep costs down and also to reduce dependency on third-party installations. During COVID times, each country has treated the installation of telematics boxes differently. In some countries, it was deemed an essential service, whereas in others, it wasn't specified. An easy installation can allow to internalize the process without impacting the quality of service. Most fleets today will have some form of telematics installed, whether basic geolocation services or more advanced solutions, including diagnostics, driving behavior monitoring, and the extensibility to add-on services such as asset management. We mentioned cold chain management, dash cams, digital tachographs. Hence, the net or marginal benefit of selecting modern telematic solutions has to be tested on a case-by-case basis. Nonetheless, from a sensitivity standpoint, cost reduction is definitely one of the top two business case parameters. In today's hybrid scenarios, a fleet telematic solution has to be able to handle fleet diversity and ideally should be designed to deal with the long-term electric vehicle requirements. I think it is quite impressive to see all these benefits shown together next to each other. Now, I must admit, when I see other people's presentations with loads of specific data points, I often wonder what the source is, whether it will apply to my business, how accurate or recent it is. As data is the new gold and fleets are sources of enormous amounts of data, fleet managers are now realizing that they are managing one of the most valuable assets in their company. It is therefore a good investment of time and effort to assess the impact that advanced telematics services can deliver to their very specific vehicle type mix today and in the near future. Each fleet is different, and it deserves a dedicated business case analysis. For this reason, as telematics experts, we must make an effort to go one level deeper and analyze how business case parameters change across various industry verticals. Just for the purpose of illustrating a few examples, we have attempted this in-depth analysis in 5 sectors, although we can deal with any other type. So we are starting with leasing and renting. We then follow with food and beverage, utilities, courier and delivery, sales and field services. We have observed how all sectors have in common a number of specific requirements to improve safety for all stakeholders, including the driver. As you can see here, they're highlighted in this light blue color: risk and safety reports, in-vehicle proactive coaching with customized messaging, accident notifications, seatbelt use detection, safety alerts. So for instance, when a driver is driving in reverse, is doing harsh braking, cornering, and more. If you move your attention to the right, the optimized fleets and cut fuel cost box, you will notice that all these parameters are also quite common to all the different sectors that we are presenting. Improve fuel economy, lower CO2 emissions, decrease idling, reduce speeding, plan preventative maintenance, and engine diagnostics. Compliance management to the left, the second from the left, is probably one of the areas where fleet managers need the most help. I guess the introduction of a fleet telematics solution can help ask the right questions within their company and accelerate some of the process changes that may be required, especially in small and medium enterprises, to be fully compliant. The end result is normally a massive reduction of paperwork and a gain in speedy and accurate reporting, as well as a greater level of regulatory compliance. Here we notice some changes from sector to sector. Similar productivity and customer service parameters are very sector specific. So let's go to the next one. In the food and beverage sector, for instance, it is important to be able to establish a two-way communication between the dispatch office and the driver, to locate the driver in real time on a map, to have the specific driver ID information, and to ensure that add-on solutions such as cold chain management can be easily integrated with the telematics platform. Moving on to the utilities sector. In addition to all the parameters we mentioned before, it is important for the driver to be able to exchange electronic reports and notifications with the head office. Routes optimization is not sufficient if not integrated with an asset management solution that ensures the truck gets to the destination on time, but with all the necessary equipment. Geofencing becomes relevant here because trucks may be designed to assigned to specific maintenance zones. And a confirmation of job completion needs to be recorded by the system with a location and time stamp. If we look at the courier and delivery sector, one of the main trends here is the process of optimizing vehicle load capacity, range, and power based on the type of usage. for instance, within city centers as opposed to suburban areas. It is fascinating to see national post office companies come up with innovative ideas that involve the use of modern electric vehicles of shapes never seen before, with a great impact on brand value too. The data required to make these best sizing decisions come from a fleet telematics solutions. Finally, for sales and field services of all types, one of the key productivity enablers is the ability to identify a subset of individuals with the required set of skills to perform the task and locate and dispatch the closest one to the job. The ability to provide customers with an accurate ETA, which will be met or exceeded, is actually a source of great customer satisfaction. This is a way to reduce inefficiencies and increase the number of service calls per day. Now imagine if drivers were under pressure to improve their performance without the assistance of such a tool. We will probably be seeing a surge in speeding cases, more accidents, eventually more downtime, and overall loss of productivity despite the driver's best intentions. From a fleet manager perspective, it would also be important to distinguish between usage during working hours and usage outside of working hours, for instance, in the evening of a work day or during the weekend. So this brings us to the end of the presentation. To reiterate the point made at the beginning of this session, with today's advanced telematics solutions, fleet managers do not need to choose between investing in safety to the expense of business performance or vice versa. In the past few years, the proliferation of single point solutions, each one addressing a subset of requirements, each one needing separate devices and add-on hardware, turned vehicles into something similar to the DMC DeLorean in Back to the Future. Well, that's no longer required. Modern devices and platforms have enabled the convergence of multiple monitoring capabilities into a single solution, bringing relevant and timely insights to the attention of empowered fleet managers. So Steve, I hope you enjoyed this initial presentation, and I guess we are now moving on to a Q&A.
Indeed, thank you very much. Thank you, Rick Vicari, for the interesting outlines around telematics and the added value that also Vodafone Automotive can bring to the industry and to global fleet customers. If you have questions for Rick, then please share them with us using the chat function in your webinar tool. And I see that there are already a few questions that are coming in, Rick. So this is really good. The first question to you already is, how do you see the payment for telematics go forward in the future?
The payment?
Yes. Do you think, for example, that it can be, let's say, subscription-based? Will it become the box perhaps free of charge, etc.? How do you see that?
Okay, that's an interesting topic. We see different models emerging, and in some cases, there's the rental model tends to include all the components in a subscription fee. In other OPEX and CAPEX models, the hardware is treated separately. We have not identified a specific trend that is going to take over the rest. It's really a decision that every company makes based on a number of parameters. But I would say the important aspect from a vendor perspective is to be flexible and understand why the adopter of a telematics solution is going down one route rather than another, and accommodate those requirements.
Okay. Another question that came in is, will Vodafone work with car manufacturers directly, or do you think that telematics and connectivity remains more of an after-sales item?
Yeah, we actually have relationships with all the major car manufacturers today. It is quite a strategic relationship where we provide connected and non-connected devices that are installed in the assembly line in factory. We provide global connectivity services, managed connectivity services. So we are really a leading player in the connected car space overall. And that relationship is very important, it's very valuable in order to deliver value to the other players in this sector, like in the insurance sector, logistics, and others.
Okay. Continuing on, let's say, the collaboration aspect, is Vodafone willing, open, let's say, to connect also with the business of the global fleet customer? For example, will it work with the existing... Yes. Will it work with the existing back office systems? Hello, I think that we have lost Rick. Sorry, apparently there is a technical problem. Hello, Rick. I'm looking at my technical support. No. There were a few questions for Rick, so I hope that he can reconnect.
I am back. I am back.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Very good.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Fantastic.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Very good, Rick. So thank you very much for reconnecting. So the question was, is Vodafone open and willing, for example, also to connect directly to the back office systems of global fleet customers so that you can improve, let's say, the efficiency, not only on perhaps the telematics side, but also on the complete process management within the company?
Yes, that platform integration is definitely possible. It needs to be assessed on a case-by-case basis. But we do have standard APIs for our telematics platform and for the Geotab platform. So integration is definitely a part of our strategy.
Okay. A question around video telematics. What is your view on that? We see, for example, that, let's say, in North America, it is increasingly important. In Europe, it's also getting a little bit more noise. Is this something where you say, yes, this is really of an added value for the future? Is this something where Vodafone Automotive is also going to develop services in?
Yes, well, dashcams are definitely part of the present, not just the future. They provide a very, very important data stream input in a number of telematic services. You know, think about how they provide proof points for insurers alongside crash reports. So what we are doing now is to enable the integration of dashcam solutions with our platform, because at the end of the day, what you remember before I mentioned the proliferation of devices in the car. The value is in the convergence of all these data streams into a single platform where you can generate insights. Separate services will not generate the same value.
Okay. Something that we didn't touch upon and could indeed be quite important for our listeners and viewers of this webinar Can
Yes.
you tell us a little bit more what the footprint is of Vodafone's fleet management services in terms of countries, in terms of regions, in terms of penetration, and so on?
Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned at the beginning, Vodafone Automotive started in the stolen vehicle tracking and recovery space, where we are global leaders. We then expanded into the usage-based insurance space, and again, we achieved the leadership positions in a number of countries, like, for instance, Italy or the UK. And fleet telematics is a third stream of activities that we are a third area that we are addressing right now together with our partner Geotab. We have already quite a significant presence in Southern Europe, and we are gradually increasing our footprint in Northern Europe as well.
Okay, thank you. Can you share also with us if Vodafone is also working on specifically on driver distraction avoidance, so caused by, for example, by the use of the smartphone, by the driver in the car, and so on? Is there also something that you can share on Vodafone Automotive side?
Yes, we are definitely testing such solutions. We believe that applications on a smartphone can be a source of important data. Now, the way of managing distractions based on smartphones is to, for instance, avoid that the smartphone is actually functioning while driving. So we are testing a number of solutions. It must be said that the actual success and uptake of a specific solution is yet to be seen. But what is important nowadays, especially with our very large access to a wide market, is to test different solutions and essentially see which one will work best.
Okay. Do you think that the OBD port will remain available outside of the OEM in the future?
Sorry, the what? Could you say it again?
OBD.
OBD.
I read the question. Yes.
Yes.
Do you think that the OBD port will remain available outside of the OEM infrastructure in the future?
So OBDs address a very specific current requirement, because, as we said before, the approach to device installation has not been homogeneous across the world during the pandemic, and an OBD allows self-installation. Now, I believe that the trend, especially in usage-based insurance, but also in fleet telematics, is in the direction of more and more convenient devices that provide a wider number of services and data sets. So I think there is an important future for OBDs and for other similar devices, but also for smartphone as a sensor applications.
Okay. What is your value proposition to global fleets, large enterprises that are buying, let's say, turnkey solutions today from leasing companies that already offer quite a lot of services, insurance, telematics, and so on, and where the business continuity with backup in cars and so on is insured in case of an accident? What is your business value there?
Well, it's a very interesting question, because essentially what the question alludes to is that a leasing company, a corporate leasing company with hundreds of thousands of cars, is already equipping those cars with some form of telematic solutions, right? So when they lease these cars to a corporate client, what is the reason for adding telematics on top. We obviously work with the leasing companies to be the partner of choice, so we obviously prefer that angle. But there is also an angle where the corporate may need specific control over specific data sets. As we said before, data is used to make a large number of business decisions, and so there may be a justification for having their own telematic solution. We see that happening very often, even if the leasing company is providing a car equipped with their own telematic solution. So it is something that needs to be assessed on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Then I would like to go to the first slide next on the screen. We organized a global fleet survey in the past months, and in total 113 global fleet managers responded. They are responsible for more than 1 million vehicles and for more than 8.5 million employees. And we asked about the implementation of telematics in their global fleet. And you see on the screen that already today, 22% has implemented telematics, that 12% will do so in the upcoming 12 months, and to even almost 30% more in the upcoming 2 years. Are you surprised by those figures, Rick? Are you, let's say, enthusiastic, happy with those figures, or are you still a little bit disappointed?
When did you say you ran this this poll?
We ran it from February until May, so just before and during the pandemic.
So during the pandemic, okay. So am I surprised? One aspect to consider is that during the pandemic, many car manufacturers had to stop production. So in terms of availability of new cars on the market, which are normally equipped with modern technology, we will see a reduction of that for at least for the next 6 to 12 months. So what this means is that any company that wants to provide services based on a connected car, or any company that is trying to extract data from their existing fleet, will need to install some form of telematics to smarten up their fleet, right? So I believe that if you ask the same question again in 6 months' time, this percentages may be a little different.
Okay, good. So, Celine, if we move perhaps to the next one, even the next one. Okay, because this is a topic that also came back with different participants in the Q&A round. So apparently, according also to the global fleet managers that we surveyed, in terms of obstacles for using telematics, data privacy issues and work council resistance stay really high on in the list. And so the questions that we receive here is, how do you see overcoming, let's say, the data privacy issue, and what is the support that Vodafone can give?
Well, Stephen, I'm going to take a little risk here and make a parallel that I normally use in conversations, you know, with people who ask me about telematics. And telematics is a bit like sushi. If you go to a very bad sushi place the first time, and then someone asks you, do you like sushi? You would probably say, no, I don't really like raw fish. But if you have an experience with a very, very high standard restaurant, then probably you will have a different opinion. So I believe that most of the resistance, the negative perception around telematics is due to the first generation of telematic solutions that have been around for a few years. I'm pretty sure that if users were exposed to the benefits, even for themselves, of the new latest generation solution, most of this resistance would probably go away.
Okay. Then another question, is there any trial version available for platform APIs you mentioned?
Any trial version? So
yes.
I'm not sure I understand completely the question, but so we can provide proof of concepts for fleet telematics. We are actually launching a campaign called Go Electric campaign to test free of charge on a limited number of vehicles our EBSA solution. So yes, we have a policy of pilots and proof of concepts. With regards to the APIs, we can share the APIs for integration purposes with any potential client that is evaluating our services, for sure.
Okay, I think that you were talking also about electrification. How important, yes, how essential is telematics in the green fleet adoption, and what is exactly your value proposition to the customer?
Yes, when it comes to electrification, there's two aspects to it. One is the ability to integrate the telematics solution with the new EV technology, so to extract data, for instance, from the battery management system and from other components which are specific to EV, and to understand what data matters in the new EV environment. And the other aspect is actually to advise our clients and potential clients on the best process, on the best transition from an ICE, a traditional fleet, to a hybrid or fully electrified fleet. And these are two aspects that we can help our prospect with, and I believe it's quite a differentiator.
Okay. The final question: how do you think that artificial intelligence will enhance safety in the future, and what is Vodafone's position on the development with artificial intelligence?
This is it's a big question. How is artificial intelligence applied to any V2X scenarios? For instance, autonomous cars will have their own, let's say, level of intelligence at the edge to make instant decisions that do not rely on network latency. Decisions cannot be made or in the cloud. Some of them will have to be made at the edge. Is that artificial intelligence? I'm not 100% sure. There would be some scenarios where you delegate decisions to software, for sure, in the L4 scenario, but I think we are still a few years away from that. We are currently testing a number of V2X use cases across many cities around Europe. We have our own testing facility for autonomous vehicles, so I'm sure that our technical experts will be able to provide a much better answer.
Okay, that is for next time. We have come to the end of this webinar. Thank you very much, Rick Vicari. Of course, if you would like to continue the discussion with Vodafone Automotive and with Rick, you can do that via the event app Attendify, where you can discuss also with Rick and with Vodafone Automotive more topics around their services. And I would like to thank, of course, Vodafone Automotive for the support. Tomorrow we have our final session, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, final session of the first ever virtual Global Fleet Conference. There we will talk about the Latin American fleet region. So stay tuned for tomorrow's session. And then before that we go, I mentioned already some information about the Global Fleet Survey, and especially for the participants of this year's Global Fleet Conference, we have a unique 20% reduction. And you see it on the screen. So you go to our eShop, shop.nexuscommunication.be, and you enter the promo code that you see on the screen, and you get a big benchmarking tool, a unique benchmarking tool in which 113 global fleet managers have shared their strategy and buying intentions. So for sure, do that. And then finally, also linked to the topic of today, we will organize the Fleet Europe Awards. The competition is already open. And one of the award categories is the European Fleet Safety Manager of the Year. You are in this webinar, so you know that safety is paramount. And so the new European Fleet Safety Manager of the Year could be you. And you can find on the website fleeteurope.com, you can find more information about how to apply and how to make sure that you have the right tools in place to become a winner at this year's Fleet Europe Awards. And so we hope to see you, because this award will celebrate the most impressive project in terms of vehicle fleet safety and driver behavior in Europe, beyond Europe. So it's open for all fleet and mobility customers. Okay. And then finally, thank you very much again to Vodafone Automotive. And Rick, please enjoy your sushi.
Thank you, Steven.
Thank you. Bye-bye.